Hey, we're back. It's Pom and Fazz Football Show live. We're back after a sabbatical with the international break. Cripper winning a BNF, but we are back to talk round ball. Good day to everyone. Big Michael Henriksen, how you doing, mate? He's on about welcome to Wrexham. I've heard good things. I haven't quite seen it yet, but I agree with you. Everyone who has told me about it raves about it. And Big Adrian, this is a Ruckman freezer. No Ruckman here, mate. No Ruckman.
Oh dear, how good is it to be back? You thought you got rid of us, but we are back. You can't keep the good pair down. Obviously, we had the international break. We had obviously the passing of Her Royal Majesty the Queen, which meant that the fixtures were all over the place. But we're back. How good is it? The Premier League, it's starting to take a little bit of shape. We're seeing teams break away. We're seeing teams absolutely flounder at the bottom. How good is Premier League football, Pommy?
Oh, it's pretty special, isn't it? It's good to have it back. And, we've had, obviously, them little bumps in the road where we've missed out. But, I mean, they've picked up. But Fazz has got a little complaint before we start about Australian football, the A-League. What's caught your eye, Fazz? Because I'm sure EPL fans can relate.
All right, look, I made sure that I wanted to get this out early, but VAR can go and fuck itself as far as I'm concerned. It is the biggest disgrace that was ever introduced into our great game. Premier League, it sucks, but the Premier League have their base fans. Like, no matter what happens, the Premier League's not going to go under because everyone loves it. But the fact that the A-League has this ridiculous system in place, it's bleeding fans. The A-League is bleeding fans. No one's watching it. No one's going to it. If anyone's watching the Melbourne City Western United game, the first goal that was chalked off for a 50-50 foul, I'm telling you what, if I was a defender playing in the A-League, I would go down at someone breathing on me, because every single time a goal is scored, they look back and they say, oh, he was touched, he went down. It won't impact the Premier League because, like I said, they've got the base fans, but it could, and I'm not being dramatic here, it could actually fold the A-League if they don't get this fucking bullshit system right. Anyway, that's my only negativity for today. The VAR can piss off.
And if you've watched me and Fazz recently, you'll realise that there's a pattern emerging. 3 letters. If they're an acronym, he fucking hates it.
Oh, mate. You do not get me started. Do not get me started.
Please, no one call me Pos. Like, whatever you do, because it'll ruin a great friendship.
Sauce, VAR, mate, you are done. Nah, I'm seriously, VAR, it is the pits, and I will welcome anyone to try and convince me that it's good for the game. I'll welcome anyone. Please convince me that it's good for the game.
I do think, and I'd love to know what chat feel, particularly from the EPL perspective. What's killing me is the referee's indecision of letting play go on. Right, like there was a scene this week when we get to the weekend recap, but it was in the Newcastle Fulham game, and it felt like 2 minutes.
Yeah,
that they just carried on playing, and it was like, do you know what I mean? Like, surely there should be like, in my opinion, it should be like the advantage rule that we give you a little bit of time, and then if you carry on playing, fuck it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I think for anyone who saw this A-League one that I'm talking about, it was the ball was come across, the attacker foul, committed the foul. He got the ball, he crossed it in. There was like 3 passes after this initial foul, and I'm like, what is going on? The referee saw the incident, said that's not a foul, play on. Goal goes in the net. Screen goes on. He goes, looks at the replay 6-7 times. Oh, in slow motion. Oh, yeah, he's got an arm on the shoulder. Psh, chalk it off. It can't be for that. It cannot be for those 50-50, the toenail offside. Poor, lucky Zlatan Ibrahimovic has bloody retired, mate, because his nose would have scored half the goals he ever scored. Because his nose would have put him offside half the time. It is ridiculous. Seriously, move on, because I'm gonna ruin the show.
Well, I mean, let's get into it. Let's get straight into it.
Doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels?
What have I done? Give me a sec. There we are. Right. There we are. Recap of the week commences. Pom's had a bit of a mission, and as Ben says, TD from Blue Abroad, he will be happy because Arsenal keep on winning. And let's start with that game. Questions probably were asked, and probably rightly so, after United beat them. But they keep winning, don't they? And that was a very, even before the sending off from old Chicken Royale, Emerson, it did look like it was going to be one-way traffic. And Arsenal have built that real ruthlessness about them. And particularly at the Emirates, they look a different beast, don't they?
Yeah, they're a team who I think everyone's waiting for them to just fall. I look at them, to use a football term, I think Richmond of 2017. Everyone's like, oh yeah, they're going all right, but they'll fall. I mean, 9 weeks in, they haven't even looked like slipping up. I think they've just been phenomenal. Players like keeping Partey fit is so important for that team. I've been vocal on this show before. I love what Arteta's doing. I love the project he went in and decided to do. You look at the Man Cities and the Liverpools and all that. He, they look at saying something's going wrong. Let's throw money at it and fix it. Arteta went in and said, let's do a project. Let's work on this. It might be say, okay, Champions League this season, win the league next season, whatever it is. It's a project. And I love what they're doing. It pains me to say, being a West Ham fan, obviously, but I could not love what Arsenal's doing more, because we all agree money's probably ruining the game. And Arsenal, they're not a poor club by any stretch, but they are showing that if you build a project, you can achieve. And I love what they're doing.
It is something that, a lot of Arsenal fans, Paolo's one of them as well from Blue Abroad. We talked about it last year with him a lot. That I said I really liked Arteta, that no matter whether they won, lost or drew, you could see what they were trying to do tactically. You could see, there was always a sense that if he gets the personnel in and he identifies it, they're going to be all right. And you're seeing it now. Like you say, Partey holds that ship together. If he can stay fit, they could go very, very deep into this. I think also their fixtures is quite interesting because they've got, obviously, Liverpool this week. City have Liverpool the week after. And I think that's very interesting because we're going to come on to Liverpool a bit in depth and we'll go into them from this week. Brighton and Liverpool are subjects of mine and Fazz's specials a bit later on. Liverpool are a side that I don't know if it's the fear factor. I don't know if it's the Mane factor. I don't know if it's the Klopp 6th season factor. But they look like there is a pattern emerging in how to beat them. And if Brighton, with an inexperienced coach in the Premier League, can take his new team and run them, I thought that was an unlucky draw for Brighton. I thought Brighton deserved to win that. It's going to be interesting. Fazz, what's happened to your mic? Can you hear me? Well, I mean, obviously, while Fazz sorts that out, I don't know what it is. I think he might have to pull it out and plug it back in. Obviously, the Brighton-Liverpool fixture was 3-3. So those who saw it, it was definitely one of them games that was a seesaw affair. But like you say, do you know what I mean? Arsenal have got to go to City. It's going to be interesting how Liverpool get over these next 2 weeks. And they need points dramatically. And this week showed their vulnerability. They look very dangerous against on the counter. Fazz, can you hear me? It's still ringing. It's shrieking. Can you hear me? We can't hear you. You're muted.
What about now?
Yeah, there we are.
All right. We are good to go. The microphone, the headphones, they stuffed up, mate. What else is new?
Fazz, we were just talking Liverpool. They look vulnerable. They look massively vulnerable, but they were caught on the counter a lot. And I think the top teams will be looking at them thinking, especially Arsenal and City in a title battle, that this could be really bad. They could go 2 weeks without any points after this.
Liverpool. I guess I was trying to say before that real interesting team where I think they've got a bit of the, dare I say it, the Melbournes or the Bulldogs about them. They've been successful, and I don't think they know how to continue. We know Klopp does have a history of once he's achieved something, they tend to drop away very quickly. It seems to be going again, and if I'm a Liverpool fan, which I couldn't be further from, but if I was, I'd be quite nervous because they're not worrying me at all. If I'm a Man City, an Arsenal, even a Tottenham, they're not worrying me at all.
Mate, I'm with you. And I think one of the things that I've really noticed about Liverpool, and especially the Brighton game, we know the new coach at Brighton is incredibly aggressive. And it looks like every time I watch Liverpool, they are overloaded in the midfield. From what we've seen, their successes in the last 2 years, particularly, where they've been one of the most dominant sides. Yeah. It looks like in the midfield, once that ball gets there, it isn't going anywhere quick enough. And it's been weird because I think Firmino has probably been their best player this year. And you can see Klopp doesn't favour him. And obviously, when you spent big on Darwin, you've got to play Núñez. But it's an interesting thing because that team just looks like it's totally lost. Even Salah doesn't look. He looks like he's so deep trying to get the ball now that overlap threat's gone away from him. They're a team that needs to get it right and fast because before you know it, and we've seen it with United last year, people start talking about that R word, bottom half, and the fear is going very quickly. And I fear for Liverpool. Next 2 weeks, I reckon City will give them a big dickens. And this week, I wouldn't be surprised to see Arsenal do a number on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting thing. Like every man and his dog knew that they needed a central midfielder. Every man and his dog knew it. Even Klopp said it, but they didn't come out and buy one. So I don't know. I don't know where they're at. It's a bizarre situation. My Twitter and Facebook are awfully quiet at the moment because obviously majority of Australians tend to be Liverpool fans for whatever reason. So long may it continue, in my opinion. But it's just bizarre. I can't put my finger on what's happened to them. I mean, if we go back to the season preview show, I did mention I thought they would drop back a bit because I rated Mane so highly, but this can't possibly be because of one person. It couldn't possibly be.
Mate, I'm with you. And Michael, I agree with you. Unlimited money, if you don't have it, it comes to an end. That's going to be something we're talking about. We do get stuck into them a bit. And I'll give you you'll be surprised who does it because one of us is really looking forward to laying into Liverpool. So I'll leave that as a surprise. Another result is a really good one for my boy sat next to me. The Hammers, 2-0 against Wolves. And let's be honest, you battered Portugal reserves, didn't you?
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, this was such a David Moyes game. I mean, I've been on here. I've been very vocal on Twitter. I've been very vocal a lot about something needs to change because West Ham's form from January, back end of last season to now has been diabolical. All we wanted from Moisey was you've made these signings, play them. Just play them. You've made them. So he started Scamacca, he started Cornet, Paqueta, he started the new signing, Kehrer at right back. I'm not ready to stamp my foot down and say we're back because I think Wolves are absolutely shitful. But Bowen was back to his best. Rice was back to his best, sitting and running. Souček, everything just seemed to be coming together for West Ham. And then obviously having the win this morning in the Europa Conference as well, it all just seems to maybe they had to take that month or so to get going. But that's Scamacca. He is different class. Like he is. Well, I mean, obviously he's not Haaland by any stretch, but he's definitely. I upset a few people because I said he won't be at West Ham much longer. I can tell you that right now because he is world class.
Mate, I mean, you see some of the things he did in Europe as well. Do you know what I mean? That behind the back little skill move, do you know what I mean, to control the ball. I mean, he's something else. And I think when you watch as well, what was good for me watching West Ham in honor of Fazz was seeing Bowen. Like, that was the Bowen we saw last year. He looked like he was ready and taking the game on, and he looked happy.
Yeah, he did. And look, I've been very, very critical of him this season. Probably said a few things. Oddly, probably similar to what I said about Patrick Cripps 12 months ago. But anyway, so I was pretty harsh on him. But I think I had to be. He's England international. He wants to be playing in the World Cup, in a month's time. And he started the season very poorly. And at the end of the day, you can only go by what you see. And I think he looked like he had a weight off his shoulders. I don't know what happened. Maybe something was going on in his personal life or whatever it was, but he looked like he went into this game and just looked like he just, I don't know, took a 20-kilogram shit or something. I don't know what it was. He just had a weight off his shoulders that he just was ready to go. And he scored, he got the assist. Fantastic.
He did. I do sometimes wonder with these players if the links to a big move, which may from his agent have been pushed as well with a World Cup year. Play for the big four. You've probably got more of a chance. I mean, we know Gareth Southgate has got the imagination of a 92-year-old in a care home, hasn't he? I mean, let's be honest. I mean, he picks the same players on repeat. So, I mean, it probably would have helped, but maybe he's got settled, like you say. Maybe he now knows that for me to get in that England side, I need to get back to 2021 back-end season form. Otherwise, I'm staying at home.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, because when you get linked to these big, big club moves, I mean, he's 25 years old, so he's still a relatively young man. The thoughts of, he's come from Hereford to Hull to West Ham. So his progression is very linear. So obviously the next step for him would be a Liverpool, Man City, whatever. So when he had the links to Liverpool, and I think Arsenal, he had the links, obviously in his head, he's thinking, cool, this is my next step. So that's fine. So, I'll wear it if he continues to go, push us in, and he should get into the World Cup squad. Even though he's playing for West Ham, he should get into the World Cup squad, because his performances last season and then now on the weekend have been fantastic. So,
mate, I couldn't agree more. It's just a shame Gareth Southgate has never heard of attacking. Up next, we've got another player that will stay at home, and Patrick Bateman correctly says, if you wanted a player to score goals, Erling Haaland, and United come in up now, and 6-3. A game that was really the Haaland show with a bit of KDB and a bit of Phil Foden. Haaland's just, I can't wait. We are going to talk about Haaland a bit more, so I won't give it all away. But, I mean, I've never believed in the second coming of Christ. I'm beginning to think it may be happening, because this kid is something else, isn't he?
He is. And look, as you said, we're going to get to him in another section, which we'll talk more. But he's just a phenomenal player. For me, it's sad. I find it sad that Norway aren't in the World Cup. Someone like Erling Haaland should be playing in the World Cup. Like,
mate, they should drop Qatar out and let Norway
I'm with you. And I'm not, I can understand why they're looking towards bringing more teams in the World Cup, but Erling Haaland, in my opinion, is the best player in the world right now. He should be playing in the World Cup. It's so sad that he's not. I will say 6-3. Whether a 6-3 scoreline can be flattering, that's arguable.
Was a very flattering scoreline, I would say.
The two Martial goals late definitely made it flattering. I don't think I've ever been able to say a 6-3 scoreline was flattering, but it was. Man City were just different class again, and that's not a criticism of United, because I think after the first probably 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, United have been one of the form teams going around, and I think it says more about Man City and how good they are rather than about United, because I spoke earlier about Arsenal building that project and Arteta building that project. this is the moment. Ten Hag needs to be trusted to build this project. He needs to be trusted. Don't panic because you lost to a City team that could be the best team we've ever seen. I don't know, right? Don't panic. He's going to build this project. He's going to work on this project. He's getting the players that he wants in. A couple more transfer windows, and they'll be right up there for sure.
Mate, I mean, I'm with you. And I mean, there's a couple of stories for United. To answer your question, Michael, we paid in the region of 47 to 49 million. And I think it's 8 million with add-ons. So it could go up to about 56. I think Martinez got a lot of stick for that game, but you've got to remember he's 4'8" against a guy that I actually don't believe is human. So I actually thought Martinez did. But the story is Haaland will get a lot of story from that game. But let's just talk a little bit, allow me to indulge, in 91st minute penalty from Martial, which may have been the best penalty I've ever seen. That was a work of art. Like, honestly, I stayed up late to watch that game, 4-0 at half-time. So just imagine, I wasn't in the best of moods. But then Haaland kept doing shit. Like, that assist was better than the goals. Like, it was honestly, it was like seeing someone bang my wife and me enjoy watching it, is the way I describe it. It was an absolute work of art from Haaland. But Martial's finish, tell you what, that penalty, it brought a smile. I went to bed with a smile on my face, and we won the second half really 3-2. So who's the real winner?
Look, it was a phenomenal penalty. And I think you raised a really good point, like talking about the penalty and talking about assists and so on. Obviously Haaland will get the praise. We'll get all the story, which is fine. I mean, he's just the new boy on the block. But the one thing, like that Martial penalty was sexy beyond all sexy. But the one thing that I cannot believe has not been mentioned is De Bruyne's assist for one of Haaland's goals. I'm looking at that. I watched it. That assist, I'm like, everyone will seriously talk about. Thanks, Mitchie. Enjoy. He's at a wedding tonight. I think he's on the sparkling wine. So good luck to the young lad.
Sparkles, mate. Get into it, Mitch. Get into it.
Sparkles Whore, we'll call him when we get back to work. But that assist from De Bruyne was just like, it was just perfection. So you talk about Martial's penalty, De Bruyne's assist, but all the story is going to be about Haaland. And think about how young he is. So again, we don't want to use all our ammo now because a big segment on Haaland's coming up. So
don't worry, Michael, I've got you covered. I mean, absolute filth, but was born in Leeds, so he's a Yorkshireman. So as a big part of my heritage is Yorkshire, they make him good. You should have seen me play, Michael. I was a better looking Haaland, I can tell you. But I mean, that's basically the results that matter in the week. Let's get up to what Fazz has a few questions about.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
So you've got a few questions, and we got stuck into these, so let's get stuck into them again.
So Nottingham Forest, I mean, I'm ready to lay my cards down on the table and say I reckon their only win of the season might actually be against West Ham, which was earlier on in the season. No, look, it's always difficult for teams to get promoted and come up. But Notts Forest, I mean, for me, my question is signing, what did they sign? 21, 22 players, new players? It doesn't work. That's more of my question or rhetorical question. I really want to say it. When a new team gets promoted, or any other team, you can't just replace the whole squad. It just doesn't work. The same manager, and he's got 21 blokes, and it really hit home for me when I looked at their starting lineup and 5 changes from the game before. Then halftime, he makes 3 changes at halftime, and all this. Like, he has got so many players he's working with. He actually doesn't know what his best 11 is. And you're getting into now, the 9th, 10th game of the season, and you don't know what your best 11 is. That's trouble for me. Bang, bottom of the table with the worst goal difference, right? and you don't know what your best 11 is, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. And I think it all stems down to signed too many players. And I know fans won't like to hear that. And I know we all get frothing about transfer windows and trade period and, we should sign him and sign him and sign that. But at the end of the day, the best clubs sign a handful of players to fit into their system. And Notts Forest, they signed the equivalent of 2 teams worth. And I just don't think it works.
Mate, I'm with you. I mean, there's a lot of, you see, I always look at some of the good teams that come up, and I think I'm with you. I think, one, they deserve the chance to step up in the big time. Because
100%.
Imagine that vibe, right? Especially for Forest. And I thought they started out well. Neco Williams came in. I really liked that deal. I was like, that makes sense to me. He's a young, hungry player. They brought in Jesse Lingard, and although it hasn't quite worked for them, I thought it's a common sense deal. Do you know what I mean? We know he can do it in the Premier League, probably starved at opportunities. We saw what he did at West Ham when West Ham entrusted him with having a first 11 in the big time. And I actually thought it made sense. World Cup year, probably Lingard's last chance. Smoky for the World Cup for him if he can get full games.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Lingard.
Doesn't it? Massive. I mean, look at the players they brought in. Like their bench, Serge Aurier, who this time last year was like killing it in La Liga. You've got like Renan Lodi, who was in Team of the Year in the La Liga last year. Like they have just started. It's almost like they think it's FIFA, and they're just buying 100%, players.
100%. Emmanuel Dennis, Mangala, Kuate, it goes on. Gibbs White, it goes on and on. Like you just can't make that many signings, in my opinion. And I think using Shik Kuate as a perfect example. 2 games ago, he was centre back. Then a game ago, he was defensive mid. This week, he was playing centre mid. Work out what you're doing with these players. You're all over the shop. And I think, I reflect back to some managers say, they prefer to work with smaller squads. And that sounds bizarre, but like when you've got a smaller squad, you know what you've got and you know what you can do. And sorry to link it back to West Ham, but I genuinely think that started West Ham's poor start to the season. We made 8 signings, which is still pretty big. And I think Moyes was like, what do I do? Who do I go with? How do I? And now it's starting to flow on. But, you can't just bring all these guys in and think, I'll plonk you down, get the controller like FIFA. It just doesn't work. It just does not work. And I do worry for him. I really do. It's I'm always big on percentage in footy and with soccer, it's about the goal difference. And the fact they've got a minus 15 goal difference already, 8 games in, minus 15 is ridiculous. And generally, you'll see the bottom 3 teams have the worst goal differences.
My biggest fear for these side, for Forest, is I look at the players they've brought in, and something tells me they ain't gonna stick around when they get relegated. There's I count maybe 3 players they've brought in who will say, you know what, championship for a year, let's bring them back in. I think Williams will stick around and stuff. I look at that team and I think, fuck me, half of you will be out of there quick, smart. They will be jumping. Your Auriers, your players like that, they ain't sticking around to play Wycombe Wanderers away.
No, you're right. You're spot on. And someone like Lingard, he proved that by signing a 1-year contract.
Yeah. Well, and he's going to be ringing David up, going, all right, Moisey, how you doing?
Mate. Write it down. In January 1, we will be linked with Lingard. Promise you. West Ham linked to Jesse Lingard, January 1. Write it down.
Mate, I think it's a great thing, and I think they are in a world of trouble. Let's have a look what I've got us under pressure. I can't wait for this one. I'm excited.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Liverpool. Liverpool Football Club.
I just want to take a photo of this. Liverpool under pressure. There it is.
I mean, am I enjoying it? There's a small part of me. When I say small, my fingers not enjoying it. That's about it. Liverpool, they look in a mess. And you touched on it when we talked about their game. My big issue with them, and Michael Henriksen nailed it, is I can't for the life of me understand what that board is doing. I can't. They are a side that won the league during COVID, second last year, crying out for central midfielders. When you're signing Arthur on a loan to buy as the top two side in the league, a guy that hasn't played football at all for Juventus, it screams United to about 5 years ago, ignoring the obvious, but buying the big star. So they bought Darwin Núñez, who I think is a fantastic acquisition, a fantastic footballer. But for me, I think they could have gone with Firmino for another year and kept Diaz on the left and done what they've done and gone out and got, a real tasty central midfielder, which they were linked with a few, and they never quite materialised. And I'm looking at that Liverpool team and I'm thinking of the teams that are losing. I think Klopp's a very intelligent man. If he leaves this year, he'll still go down as an icon of Liverpool. He brought them back to the glory times. I reckon his eyes will start to be looking at La Liga, at your Barças and your Reals, at your Italian jobs, some big names there linked with being sacked. I reckon Klopp at some point will start thinking, I'm not being backed here. Do I fuck off? I mean, another great example is Paris will go through coaches. You tell me that if Klopp left now, Paris ain't sacking their Mickey Mouse coach and bringing Klopp in, and Klopp can earn $1 million a week and win the league in a farmers league with 4 of the best players in the world. Like Liverpool, for me, I feel Liverpool are at the situation now in January. They have to do what good clubs don't do and spend 80, 90 million and bring talent in. Bring your Nkunku and bring your top stars in, right? Or they sack Klopp and they go Arteta way. And I think if they do that, I think the wheels will come off quick. I think the only way they can get out of this mess is back Klopp in, getting what he needs. Because that squad now is starting to look wafer thin.
It is, and not just wafer thin, it's looking old too. Do you know what I mean? So I think how they're not in the market for Declan Rice. I mean, if I'm the owners of Liverpool, I'm calling up the West Ham's owners and saying, here's a blank check. We need a Declan Rice. They need him. They're crying out for a midfielder. I don't know what they're doing. And, this has disaster written all over it. And I'm not going to lie. I'm enjoying it a little bit because they were insufferable. But in the interest of being, non-biased and all that, they probably need to be better. They definitely need to be better because we're at the risk, and I'm going to be honest here, we are at the risk of this league being Man City winning 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row. We're at the risk of that. Geez, I can't believe the words they're coming out of my mouth. We need Liverpool to be good.
Oh, no.
I know. Fuck me.
It's happened. It's happened.
I'm sorry. But we all right, I'll refer. We need Man United, Arsenal. We need Man United and Arsenal to be good. Chelsea and Liverpool, maybe not, right? But you know what I'm saying. We need them to be good because we can't, and I love Man City, I love what they do, but we can't have a scenario where in the biggest league in the world, the best league in the world, the same team. I mean, City will probably do a 3-peat. Are they going to go bang and bang? Before you know it, six seasons in a row, they've won it. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, I'm with you. And I think like Michael nails it here. Do you know what I mean? Kroenke is spending the coin and he's backing his manager. And for me, this is what annoys me about the family that own Liverpool. they're taking big investment and they're spending it in the NFL and the NBA from Liverpool Football Club. Like, they're talking at the moment that they're willing to pay 30 million over the asking price for Bellingham because Borussia Dortmund want more than the 90 million quoted if they sell mid-year, because obviously it's impossible to replace. My question is, if you're willing to do that now because you're ninth, why weren't you doing this 12 weeks ago and saying, fuck it, we'll pay the 30 million now? Because I'm pretty sure Klopp would have said, you bring me Bellingham, we challenge.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. Like Arsenal, like City, be active. Be active, not reactive. And we can see Liverpool are a reactive football club.
Mate, I'm with you. And I think Arsenal deserve huge credit that they did all their business in the first 3 days of the window. Like, you could see that was planned. They were like, right, I want Gabriel Jesus. And that Gabriel Jesus deal, in my opinion, is the best deal in the Premier League because
100%.
Suddenly he was available. 2 minutes later, he's got the Arsenal shirt at the Emirates with number 9 on. Like, before we even had a chance to say, oh, do you think United will sniff? Or do you think Chelsea will sniff? Arsenal were just literally like, bang, off you go. Welcome to the club.
I'm with you. And I just think I mean, I could talk about Arsenal all night. And I know, West Ham supporters will hunt me down, what else is new? But they just so impressive. What they've done is so impressive. Premier League experience, getting that project. Liverpool, take note. I know, I'm sure the owners of Liverpool watch our show. I'm certain of it. Take note. Take note.
Mate, I'm with you. I would say, my last thing I'll say on this, my big fear for Liverpool, well, I'll say fear, I'm being impartial, is that Arsenal are going to be the new Liverpool. The attractive thing about Arsenal is it's so long ago since that Wenger era when they were dominant that suddenly, if, like Michael's saying, I think Partey's the missing link, right? If he gets injured, I reckon the wheels come down. If I'm a Bellingham now, though, right, or a player like that, and say Arsenal rang me in January as well and said 80 million, Vieira, Henry, you could be that guy that brings that time back. Suddenly, Arsenal have waited years to win the league title. Liverpool have only won it 2 years ago. It's exciting, new coach, new system. They're playing the best football. Suddenly, I'm looking at Arsenal over Liverpool now.
You make such a great point, because I think what a lot of things people forget is, as great as Arsenal were and all the things they do, if they were to win the Premier League, now, this season, next season, whatever, these players, you could argue whatever, these players will go down as all-time legends because of how long it's been. And that's what, like the Liverpool team who won the league, they're all-time legends. And we're talking about some of the greatest players of all time. They're up there with them because of how long it took. You talk about Carlton in the AFL. If Carlton were to win a premiership, these players would be all-time legends because of how long it took. And I think that's what you look at. You look at Arsenal and you say, they're the new Liverpool. They're the new project. I go there. I go down in 20, 30, 40 years' time. People are talking about me like they did the Invincibles, like they did Thierry, because of how long it's been. So, I could not. That is one of the best points. And I've known you for a long time. I think that's one of the best points I think I've ever heard you say, because it is so true. So true.
Mate, Jesus. All it took is get me talking about a team that I hate. Very easy. Very easy to bury something that you don't like, I can tell you. Very easy. But then we go into the positives. We've bullied teams. Let's be positive. Let's see who Fazz is getting a bit sexual about this week.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
What are you liking, Fazz?
Oh, Brighton. I am booking a holiday to the coast to be on Brighton with the seagulls and just the beautiful salt wind in my hair. What a team. What a club, Brighton. They lose their manager, in my opinion, is one of the best managers going around, and they still just take the piss. They are a phenomenal football club. And I'm telling you now, if there's anyone watching or any anyone out there saying, "Oh, I'm thinking about following the Premier League. Who should I go for?" Brighton. Go straight for them. Good colours as well. Everyone likes a blue team, but their season. This could be it for them. This could be their season where they crack. I don't think they'll crack the top 4, but they could crack Europa. They could crack Europe. And I think what a result for a football club like Brighton. They are just that team. They've come up. They've been performing so well for years under Graham Potter. I wasn't 100% sure how they go now that he left. And, the jury's still out. Maybe they're still playing on that, the pot away. And when the new manager comes in, it could all go to shit. Fuck hypotheticals. Let's deal with what we know now. They are a fucking good team to watch. I love everything about him. That Trossard looks like he's loving his football again. And I think they could break Europe. And what a result. Like I said, they're the new Leicester, Southampton, dare I say it, West Ham, that team who's come in and just solidified their spot in the Premier League and now saying, you know what, I called it. Everyone go back and watch the season preview where I said, what are these teams doing? What's a Crystal Palace doing? What's a Southampton doing? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? Do you just want to be a mid-table team or you want to take the next step? You know what? Brighton said, hey, fuck you. We're taking the next step. We're above you, Wolves. We're above you, Palace. We're above you, Southampton. We're taking the next step. And look where the Wolves are. Sitting third last. Southampton, 16th. Brighton, bring it on. I love them. Love them.
Mate, I think you've nailed it. And I think, what was interesting to me, and I think a lot of credit needs to go to Potter here, and why I was so excited Chelsea got him, is I think he's built such a belief system there, such a nucleus, that for someone like De Zerbi who comes in, who's a very attacking, very aggressive coach, the fundamentals of this Brighton team are very, very sharp. And you saw it with Lallana, which made me laugh. Like Adam Lallana as a caretaker coach for one game, they look fucking grouse under him. Like I was watching Lallana and going, this kid can coach. And I think it's an exciting time, and I agree with you. Like, this is another team we talk about excitement. If you're one of these Liverpool fringe players and they miss the Champions League, is this somewhere you might have a sniff at?
Could be, depending on what you want. But they just, I don't think they'll do a Leicester because of obviously how ridiculously awesome Man City are. But they have that aura about them, that belief, and belief is such a dangerous thing. We talk about it all the time. Belief far outweighs anything you do. And I've always, my opinion, the sign of a great manager or a great organization is when someone leaves, the next person rolls in, and it's like nothing's changed. And I think that's Brighton. Graham Potter set the foundations. He did his hard yards. He's gone now. You could have John Smith in there, and it won't matter because they have the same squad. Yes, they keep losing their top players every year. Fine. Leicester did the same. Southampton did the same. And they still were able to stick that performance. I love what Brighton are doing. And you know what? I hope they get European football at the end of the season because they're just a great team to watch. They're one of those ones, you see their fixture, I'll tune into them.
They're one of them teams as well that you look at, and especially if you're playing away, like suddenly you start to go, oh, I don't want to play these guys.
They're a tough team. They're a tough team to beat. Tough team. No, I love them. Love them. Brighton, bring it on.
If you're a Chelsea and a Tottenham particularly as well, like you don't want these guys like in a couple of weeks because they've got a game in hand of Spurs. Like that could be a really interesting battle between, say, you'd presume United are going to be in and around there when the crooks will fall. You'd imagine Chelsea will be in Spurs. That could be a really interesting battle for that fourth spot.
And how good.
Mate, I mean, you add European football to them foundations. Tell you what, you never know. They could be the next team that breaks the top four.
Well, I'm with you. And I say, you look what European football does to a mid-table team. I'll throw West Ham in there again. European football allows you to sign a Scamacca, a Paqueta. They allow you to sign these players. That's what European football does. Brighton get European football. It's that 1 year, one season you achieve it, you can set your club up for a decade.
Mate, I think it's a great thing, and I'm excited about them too. I think I think that everyone's. My team's not playing. There's 6 games on today. Who am I watching? Oh, Brighton. I'll stick that one on.
100%.
That'll be a good one.
100%.
So there we are. No, I agree with you, Fazz. And let's have a look. What's turning me on?
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Well, I mean, what can you say about something that you're not quite sure is human? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what is this kid? I mean, he's a baby. I mean, I think the thing that we'll start off with, 8 games in the Premier League, right? And it took Michael Owen 48 games to have 3 hat-tricks. Ruud van Nistelrooy, 59. Fernando Torres, it took him 64. And the great Andy Cole, 65. And he's done that in 8. And I think what scares me is, as a stat here, if he continues at his current goal scoring rate, he will end on 66, knowing that the existing record, which I remember people have said since 2000, it'll never be beaten, is 34 by Andy Cole and Alan Shearer in 93 and 94 season.
You got to piss it in.
Just think about that. He could double it. He could double it if he could. And I don't know how you stop him. And it's not just him. I think Pep Guardiola came out today and the other week and said the difference between him and Messi is Messi could do it himself and he relies on his mates. And I think that's true. I think Erling Haaland is a proper centre forward. But what scares me for the Premier League is how his vision is almost in sync now with KDB. If you watch the European game this week where he scored 2 goals and then went off at half time, he had a shot on goal, right? And he's taking the piss now. There is footage of the referee drops his spray.
Yes.
Haaland leaves the attack, runs 10 metres back, picks it up, hands it to him, and then joins it. So he's so bored of football now. He's trying to complete all the side quests.
Yeah. How good was that footage? Erling Haaland. I told you this story off air, Pom, but I'm going to say it again. So when I was a kid, probably at 10 years old, I saw the Terminator 2 for the first time. And I didn't sleep for months because I was stressed that the world is being taken over by cyborgs, right? Got over it as I grew up. Well, you know what? I'm losing sleep again because the world is getting taken over by cyborgs because this man ain't human. He ain't human. Has anyone seen him bleed yet? Because he cannot be human. I don't care what anyone says. He's a fucking Terminator, mate. He is just insane.
I watched the Norway game in the qualifying in the Nations League, and he actually gets 2-foot challenge from behind. And no joke, the guy who tackled him went off. And I watched that scene, and I'm just like, Jesus, like, what's going on here? But I like that, Michael. I think there's a few nations trying to go through his genealogy. And,
mate.
You know what I mean? Brazil,
who do you compare him to? He's just... I can't get over him. And long may it continue. And I think the Pep Guardiola comments were right. You know, he is very reliant on his teammates, which is fine. What centre forward or striker isn't? That's not a knock on him. That's just the position he plays. You know, name me a centre forward or striker who weren't reliant on service, on delivery. You know, what past players can we compare him with? Thierry Henry.
Well, I mean,
Zlatan, you know, combine them, maybe. I don't know.
Mate, I think he's a tough one, but do you know what I mean? Like, I think Ronaldo, obviously R9, do you know what I mean? At this stage of his career, was considerably ahead of Haaland in goal output, right? But I would say the big thing here is when you look at it, he's probably comparable to Ronaldo in that aspect of, I can't remember a guy that plays on the shoulder and breaks lines like that. I also think he's comparable in the way that he never moves the same twice.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I was watching that United game, and sometimes he drops deep and runs. Sometimes he goes laterally and comes in. I was thinking if I was a centre back, I'd be like, what the fuck's this guy doing? Like that second goal he scored, he went to left wing, and then he actually goes offside, sneaks back onside by the centre back, and then cuts inside. Then I'm like, how do you stop that? Like, if you're a centre back, are you going to run all the way to the wing and then come? I was like, the guy's insane, and that is where that was very R9-esque. R9 was a crafty bugger who would 1 minute be centre forward, next minute be up at left wing, next minute be in CM. Like, this guy is it. And I think you combine his pace with his physicality. I will go on record, and I think this guy, when he retires, I can't say it. I think he will be superior to R9. I think we will talk about it and say Haaland was better.
That's a monster call. When I look at him, I think when I grew up, or teenager, I had Ronaldo, Messi. I'm looking at Haaland and I'm thinking my children are going to have Haaland stuff. Like he is that person. We're obviously not Man City fans in our house. Like when I was growing up, I wasn't I wasn't Barcelona fans or United or Real Madrid fans, but we still had Ronaldo and Messi stuff because that was the it in a bit. This bloke's no different. He's going to get bums on seats. He's going to get kids into the game. He is going to put, once again, not that it needed to, but he's going to put them on the map. Mate, I was at cricket training the other night, fucking cricket training, and someone was like, "Who's that blonde bloke that running around for Man City?" I'm like, "Haaland, mate. This is a guy who's never follows football in his life." And he's like, "Who's that blonde bloke?" He is going to change the game. It's insane. It's insane.
Mate, it's crazy. I mean, eight games, 14 goals. I mean, I wish my pop was alive to see this because, it sounds unbelievable. It sounds unbelievable. And then, I mean, even in the Champions League, he's played 17 minutes, has 5 goals. I think the guy's an animal.
Yeah, I think you see the heading goals and all that, but I think the finish the Bruyne pass was elite, but even the finish was just so relaxed. He just gets in there, throws his boot out, and it hits it. And I felt like he just put his leg out, and the ball hit it, and then bulleted it off. Like it was just, I can't even describe it. Yeah. Anyway, he's a cyborg, mate. I'm telling you, he's a cyborg. He's not human.
I hate watching Man City for obvious reasons, but one of my guilty pleasures at the moment is watching Man City. Like I do. There's a part of the kid in me that just loves the game so much that I'm like, I've got to watch him. I've got to watch him.
It's a very guilty pleasure.
like my wife was watching it with me and she could feel my pain, right? But she was also amazed by the little grin in my face. I'm like, well, class.
Yeah.
Well, class.
It's honestly, it's like that. That sneaky, bag of chips you buy on the way home from work. You shouldn't have it because you're about to have dinner, but fuck, it was good when you had it. And I think that's exactly what it is. You shouldn't be enjoying it, but gee whiz, it was good.
The only good thing about it, and I think, is that Haaland is ugly, though. So, I mean, just proves that you can't be perfect in all the facets. So that makes me happy. I didn't see Pele, so I mean, obviously Pele is regarded as the greatest forward. Controversy over how many goals he actually did score, but I mean, you'd say this is. I think he'll go down as this generation's Pele. Honestly, I'm telling you, in the 36 years I've watched this great game, I have never seen anyone come to a league that is regarded as the most physical. And all the pundits, all the ex-pros said, "Yeah, but it's Germany. He's now in a real league."
I'm with you.
And look at him. He takes the piss, man.
He does. He does. He
takes the piss.
Yeah, and I think you talk about generational players. Like everyone knows Pele. Like we never saw him play, but we know Pele. And I think my children growing up, they're probably too young. They won't see much of Messi or Ronaldo, but they'll know Messi and Ronaldo. I think he's going to be the same. I think people who aren't even born yet will know the name Erling Haaland. And I think that's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
Mate, Erling Haaland, long live the king, is all I can say. Long live the king. And then we come on to the week ahead. Let's have a look at the fixtures this week.
Doesn't hurt with me? Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know?
Well, we've got some absolute rip snorter ties this week, and the Premier League really does kick into effect, doesn't it? And we start on Sunday, where there is some, you would say, some little tasty morsels for us. But Bournemouth-Leicester, what are we thinking in this game? This is one of them games that doesn't sound appealing, but these are probably the most exciting games, aren't they? Two teams struggling.
It's appealing. It's appealing because it's a 6-pointer. Leicester now, seem to maybe have got their shit into gear with a good win. Bournemouth, I mean, they've been a bit of a surprise. 2 wins, 3 draws. I mean, bit of a surprise. At home, this is tasty. This is absolutely tasty. I'm tipping a 2-2 draw personally, but I still think it's a 6-pointer. If one of these teams can get the result, then huge.
Mate, it is an Adrian, great story. This going to see Foggia versus AC Milan, but imagine seeing that Hullet Van Basten. Van Basten, one hell of a footballer. Baresi. Tell you what, there's some names in that, but
that's
back to Bournemouth, Leicester. I've got this 0-0. I've built it up, and I reckon that this game will be like watching paint because Bournemouth are becoming the specialists, aren't they? In a draw.
Yeah, they love it. They do love a draw.
But the Graham Potter Chelsea then rolls into town against Wolves, and I really like Chelsea under Potter. I know it's early doors, but he seems to have sharpened them up a little bit. There seems to be a lot more onus on discipline, and some of these players look like they're working hard. I've noticed Aubameyang as well looks like he's actually putting a bit of effort in. It looks like he's getting through to these players, and this should be a routine win.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I mean, I love Potter and all that, but I think what I'm going to say probably says more about the Wolves than Chelsea. I think Chelsea 4-0, routine. I think Wolves are diabolical. I mean, watched them closely against West Ham. They don't have a striker. I mean, they've got with Diego Costa, but he's probably a bit of a shadow of himself. They're in trouble, Wolves. They're in big trouble. Watch this space. They could be my watch for next week. Big game. They've got Notts Forest next week. But anyway, worry about Chelsea first. Chelsea will murder them, I think. Absolutely murder them.
Yeah, I think this will be 3-0. And I mean, it looks like as well that Wolves are actually going after another Spanish. They're going after the ex-Olympiacos coach, which is one of the favourites. So, I mean, it's one of them bizarre things, isn't it? I mean, you would have thought they would have learned. But
strange.
Libbojrjr is also one of their favourites for the job. I mean, they are. I mean, you might as well get Cristiano Ronaldo in. You know what I mean? Might as well start it now. But I'm with you. That'll be a one-sided game. Chelsea will put a bit of pressure on that top 4. Then we've got, this game here. He's got to rest Haaland at some point, but Haaland train runs into Southampton.
Yeah. Speaking of one-sided games, we don't need to talk too much about this one. A 4-0, I think, again. It's another one-sided game. As I said off the top of the show, we're starting to see the Premier League take shape. A few teams are separating, a few teams are dropping, and you've got that glut in the middle. Yeah, I think this is a pretty stock standard game, to be honest. City, yeah.
Hold me to this one. 7-1.
7-1. Oh, I'm writing that down. I write these down. 7-1.
7-1. I will be watching this one, and honestly, I think Haaland might take the piss because Southampton, they're in a world of hurt down the back, and Haaland's going to eat them alive. Then we've got the Geordies, and they're a team that is going. I think the Geordies. No one's talking about them. One win, 5, but only 1 loss, and a few, you would say, unlucky draws where they have been the better side, particularly against Wolves. They just couldn't get it in the net. Palace, I thought they deserved the win, and Bournemouth just clung on. I think this could be another, one of them games that I think people are going to give Brentford a chance, but I think Newcastle might get it together and get it on the score sheet. 3-1 Newcastle.
3-1. I've got this at 1-1. I'm really liking what Brentford are doing. I think this is another example of those teams in that glut in the middle that just you don't know where these teams are going to go. Newcastle, with their backing, their money, they should be starting to push to the 6, and Brentford just keep surprising, keep doing good things. So I think Newcastle should win, and if they want to achieve something in this season, they need to win. But I'm looking at a 1-1 because I'm just feeling a really positive result for Brentford.
Mate, I love a little bit of the Geordies, though. I've got to say, I know they're cash rich, but it's good vibes. And then we go to Brighton, and they've got a really interesting fixture against Spurs. And this is one of them games that if they do want to get into them European spaces, this is where you start knocking off that top 4 and putting a bit of pressure on. And tell you what, Brighton win this will do a world of confidence.
My game of the round, to be honest. I think this is my match of the round. I'll definitely be watching this one. I've got Brighton 2-1. I couldn't have had a whole segment on how I love them so much and then not tip them for the result. I think they get the job done. I really do. I love what they do. They're at home. If you missed what I spoke about Brighton, go back and watch. There's nothing more I can say. They'll do this 2-1.
I've got this going the other way. I think this will be 3-1. The Spurs.
Wow.
I like a bit of Conte, and I think Conte will be seething after last week, and I expect to see the usual messes go hard. But then we've got, I think Monday's fixtures at midnight are some of the best ones. You've got Palace, Leeds, and this is a game that seems to be, every time these two are in the Premier League, same story. Both trying to get into that mid-table mediocrity and sustain some survival. And this is a 6-pointer already, isn't it, really? Because Leeds can put a 2-game gap between Palace, but Palace win, they're right equal.
It is a 6-pointer already, like you said. But as far as I'm concerned, you say Palace Leeds, I say moving on, because as far as I'm concerned, the two of the most irrelevant clubs in the Premier League, neither of them are going to go down. Neither of them are going to finish in the top half. They're nothing clubs. They're an 11th to 15th club. I've got it 0-0, which is what the game will deserve because it's Palace and Leeds.
I reckon 1-0 Palace. 1-0 Palace.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
It'll be. I agree with you. It'll be one of them ones that everyone will say in the media. 2 attacking teams play the game in the right way, and you watch both teams go 5 at the back. I nullify it. But then we've got probably the real tie of the round for Fazz. A bit of a London derby. West Ham against the high-flying Fulham.
Yes, well, I feel like Fulham, maybe have just come back to the pack a little bit. They started off really strong, as we know, that real buzz of, getting promoted. But that game against Newcastle for them was diabolical. I mean, they were terrible. So hopefully for West Ham fans like myself, that continues going through. Given the fact West Ham played in the Europa game, we'll see what changes Moyes makes. At home, West Ham should be winning this 2-0. I think West Ham should get the business done 2-0. I can see Fulham putting up a fight, so maybe 2-1. But thanks, Ames. Go West Ham.
She's backing you in.
I'm saying 2-0, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mitrovic snags one.
Oh, you see, I haven't mentioned Mitrovic just for you because it's the curse. Like, Fulham were the worst side in the league at the start of this journey. Mitrovic is not a guy who scores goals. And before Haaland realised he was very good, he was odds on for the Golden Boot at one stage. So how times have changed. I think I am loving your little Italian striker, to be honest. I reckon he might show us a little bit of Italian Haaland about him. 3-0. West Ham do the goods, and the good times are back. And this time next week, you'll have your Moyes hat on. And
far be it from me to chop and change my opinions, but go David Moyes.
And then we've got probably what really I would say 4 weeks ago, you were looking at this and going, if Arsenal are serious about top 2, they're going to have to get a result here. And now Arsenal are going in heavy favourites against Liverpool at home at the Emirates. And really, you would say if Arsenal win this, that gap is way too big. 4 games, over 4 games for Liverpool to catch. You would say this would underline Liverpool as a 50-50 shout for the top 4.
Yeah, look, I mean, a lot of people are saying now that Liverpool's title chances are over because of how far they are behind, which I do agree on that. And I agree with what you said. If they lose this game, their top 4 chances are over. And saying that, I've got Arsenal 3-1. I think we've spoken so highly of Arsenal. How can you go against them? It's at the Emirates. They're performing. The only thing that you might think about Liverpool is that, they've been good previously, but call a spade a spade. It has to be Arsenal 3-1 or 3-0, in my opinion.
Do you know what I mean? Call me crazy. I think this could be Gabriel Jesus taking the piss. 4-1.
Oh, hey, I love it.
Thierry Henry at Emirates. Like Gabriel Jesus doesn't realise he's Gabriel Jesus. When he's at Emirates, he thinks he's prime Thierry Henry. I reckon Liverpool are going to get dicked this game.
I love it.
I reckon the wheels are coming off, and I'll have a smile on my face because we're away. United go to Goodison Park, to the big side of Merseyside. We go to the big club there. Everton, Frank Lampard's Everton. And what are you thinking about this one?
I've got it 1-1. I think Everton are starting to kind of they've surprised me a little bit. They have surprised me a little bit. I think Lampard's kind of got them playing away. They do love a draw. I've got them 1-1, but it's not a confident 1-1. I'm really intrigued by this game because I'm wondering how Ten Hag gets United up for, gets them out of that rut that they had a 6-3 against their rivals. But I've got it 1-1. I've got it 1-1. But not confident.
No, and I mean, it's the same as the AFL and the EPL. You don't often see players like from Man United go to Man City or Liverpool. You don't really see Leeds go there either. So they do go to them like incidental rivalries, but genuinely the bigger ones. I'm not a fan of it. If someone left Rangers to go to Celtic, I'd get the first flight to Celtic Park and burn it down. As for this game, I will say Anthony Masterclass, 2-0 United.
Yeah, cool. I'd be very happy with that, and I think that could be a possibility. Like I said, I'm really intrigued. I've got a must watch on this game because I just want to see. I said before, United were pretty deplorable against City, so I want to see how they bounce back. And I think we could learn a lot about Manchester United and Ten Hag about how they bounce back from this game.
Mate, it's going to be an interesting one. This final one, Forest and my second boy, Steven Gerrard. I told you to stick fat with him. Got that
Yes,
draw against City, and Gerrard ball is taking shape. And they've had a good free run. Last 3 games, they're starting to really get that stability. It seems to be working now. This one's got, surely Villa are looking at really putting some chances away here and getting that goal difference up.
Yeah, I've got Villa 3-0. I've got Villa. Nothing I've seen from Notts Forest has impressed me at all. I said before that their 1 win against West Ham, I still stand by they shouldn't have won that game. I mean, anyway, it's heartbreaking. But Villa 3-0. I can't see us. I can't see Villa. Notts getting anywhere close to them at all.
Yeah. I mean, they need 4 goals to get a break-even thing. That they're a 1-goal specialist at the moment, Villa. They just can't get the ball in the net. But I do think they'll get a 2-0 here. 2-0 here, as we've got, I think, 2 of Fazz's mates, Big Mitch,
Big Mitch,
Corey.
How's the wedding going, Mitch? And then Big Causa. And what do we love about Corey? He's a big Arsenal fan, so good on him. But he's also a St Kilda fan, so bad luck, son.
It all evens out in the end. It all evens out in the end.
Yeah, love it. But Villa 3-0.
We got Villa there winning that one. Well, I mean, we've come to the end of the show, and that was, it's great to be back.
Oh, I love it. I love it. The real stuff. This is the real stuff.
Mate,
It's all about. It's the men from the boys.
Hey, do you know what I mean? This is it. This is it. Well, I mean, enjoy the weekend, everyone. Tune in and watch Haaland prove he's the second coming. And we'll be back next week with more love and more round ball. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. See you soon.
There you guys.